Hello, and welcome back to our Next Chapter Woman podcast. In today's deeply personal conversation, Lois opens up about love, loss, and the quiet courage that it takes to start over after everything in life changes. From running a business with her husband to working through his passing, Lois reflects on the friendships that carried her, the pace of life she's come to appreciate, and the surprising strengths she found within herself. If you've ever thought about slowing down, letting go of the past, or finding you in a brand new chapter, Lois's story is a gentle reminder that you're not alone in those thoughts. Listen in, take to heart those things that speak to you, and share this episode with someone who just might need a little bit of hope today. So to kick things off, I want everyone to meet today's guest. Her name is Lois, and she was a business owner and is active in local/provincial politics, so quite active there. She's also a mom and a grandma, and she's a traveler, but most importantly, she's someone who's gone through some ups and downs, and maybe even what we might class as fairly major life events, life happenings in her life. So welcome, Lois.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're here. Actually, before we get to talking about what present day Lois is up to, can we take a minute and go back so that we can get acquainted and our listeners can hear a little bit about you and what makes Lois. Listeners can hear a little bit about you and what makes Lois actually.
Okay.
What's happened. And actually, looking back on those rough waters, I mean, we all have good times and not so good times, but it's those rough waters that I think tend to make us who we are actually in the real world. So I wonder if you can look back on a time when you were navigating those rough waters and share a little bit about what was going on in your life at that time.
Oh, life was very, very busy for me at that time. Uh, We had a business, my husband and I. I also worked outside of the home. We had two children with the hospital auxiliary and, of course, in the political world as well. So a lot of those years pretty much are a blur of just getting by and getting things done that needed to be done. I must say, though, in the bit of the later years, we had classic cars and we traveled with a group called the Idaho Cruisers and did get to see a lot of the northern, western parts of the US. A great group of people. Lots of fun, met some new friends. I don't just know where else to go with this because compared to now, my life's pretty dull.
Oh, I don't know. You say dull, but not in the eyes of the beholder. There's nothing dull about Lois.
My life is considerably quieter now than it ever has been. I'm finding as I grow older, I sort of want to be less social. We do a lot of camping and just sharing time with my children and grandchildren. Just, I really don't know how to explain that and the happening of that, except that maybe I don't realize it and I'm just tired. I don't know. And I've just said, okay, girl, you're getting on and you need to start just tapping it cool, maybe. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
What do you think brought about that little voice in your head that said, well, now it's time for, I don't know how you would term that, but either calm down or change, or in your words, what was speaking to you?
I don't think that was an obvious thing. It just sort of happened over time. I do have a new partner now, and he's older than I am. So we're old people and we're living the old people life. And yeah, sometimes I miss the young life, but for the most part, I'm pretty content at the speed I'm traveling right now. I look at my calendar and I think, oh, you're slowing down, are you? Mm, you're not really, but maybe I've just made choices whereby I'm now doing what I want to do. Yes, not what I'm used to have to do. It's a
Mhm.
want to do now. So
Yeah. The
I think
calendar is still full and it always was full. It's just full with different things now. You have more choices. Oh, more choices for yourself rather
yeah,
than for the kids and the business and the husband and those kind of choices.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
true, I think. Yes. Oop.
Yes. So when you think back when I met you, you were in business with your husband, which has its ups and downs. Was there a time that you had a major struggle? I'm just thinking back to when Keith was experiencing some health issues, and I'm thinking about how that must have been for you. Of course, we can imagine how that was for Keith and for your business, but I'm wondering personally, how was that time for you?
That was an interesting time because Keith never behaved like he had a limited number of years. And he never thought he was going to die. So he just kept living and working the way he always had. Towards maybe the last couple of years, he slowed down, but he still got up and went to work every day. I mean, we did sell the company, and he worked for that fellow for 5 years. And on the fifth year and the immediate day after, he went to work for himself. People were just waiting for that to happen. But he didn't work as hard and he didn't put the hours in. But no, that man never ever thought he was going to die. Yeah. And that was hard because he wouldn't make decisions about life things.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. So consequently, when he did pass, I had classic cars and a double garage full of neon signs and memorabilia and an offsite storage unit full of that stuff too, because he just loved to collect that stuff and had tons of it. And I must say that the car club, a few of the guys from the car club stepped up to the plate and helped me through it immensely. Yeah, that was the hardest part, was trying to get him to realize that his life was coming to an end, and he wasn't buying any of that. He didn't buy that.
which is kind of a blessing too, in a way.
Absolutely,
Yes.
in a way, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So would you say that you had a support system? Did you have people around you that could
Oh
help
yes,
you?
oh absolutely, absolutely, yes. And my daughters were amazing, especially my oldest daughter, Nicole. The youngest one was busy with her young family, but Nicole had a little more time because her children were older. And I have some truly, truly good friends that were there. Yeah. I did not do it alone. And even during the process, I made a couple of new friends. And I'm just amazed by them because they're 85 years old, the two of them. And we are
Wow.
extremely close now.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. They're lovely, lovely people.
What was it that you did or that they did that made that reaching out happen?
I wanted to downsize because I lived in a 3-bedroom home with big double garage out back and a garage on the house, and it was too much for me. And I had wanted to make a move for some time. And my youngest daughter, Amy, said, "Mom, if you're going to sell this house, please sell it to us." And I said, "Oh, all right then."
Oh,
That makes it easy, right? So I bought a condo. And when I was moving into the condo, this older couple came over and said, "Are you Lois?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And they said, well, your husband, Keith, wired a basement for us. And we just loved him. I said, well, thank you very much for that. And then we just became fast friends after that.
I think you collect people naturally. I mean, you are always so giving and welcoming, I guess.
Well, thank you for that, Diane. I like to see myself as that, as being, open to making new friends and visiting and finding out who you are and what you're about. Yeah. Yeah.
So when you were going through those changes, which for any individual, those are huge changes, right from when Keith was sick through that, and then meeting new friends and new people. What do you think are some of your qualities or your strengths that you discovered about yourself that you maybe didn't know, or that you maybe didn't realize that you had those strengths before and now you were able to use them?
People have always seen me as this strong, independent woman.
Yeah.
She can take care of herself and she can take care of business. But that's not always true. I'm actually someone who, I don't want to say craves, but wants the same kind of open and friendliness and love that I offer. That's what I look for. And I have been fortunate enough to find that in my family and in a certain number of my friends. And to me, that's what makes this world go round right now, is that comfort of friends and family. Yeah.
I think that's an important point, and it leads to this thought that I had. It's not about having 100 friends. Having 100 acquaintances is great, but the number of friends that we have in our lifetime is, for me, is quite a bit smaller than that. Would you agree?
Yes, I would agree. And here's something else. I find that sometimes your closest friends become your not closest friends anymore, because the reason you were friends is no longer viable in the relationship. And I have two really good friends that I think one that's happening right now, but one has happened a while ago. And I think of her often, but inside I'm okay with the fact that we are no longer entangled in each other's lives, because why I needed to be there, and I was there for this particular friend when she went through a lot. And I'm okay with it. It's like I don't feel duped or hurt, or I just think that's life. And the good Lord said, you need to be her friend. And so I did.
I have a couple of thoughts on that specifically. One of them is that recently I read a book by Mel Robbins called Let Them. It reminded me of that because she has a whole chapter in there about letting go of friendships that, I wouldn't say that they're not working, but a friendship that maybe needs to move into a different space. And then I also listened to a long podcast where Mel Robbins interviewed somebody who's an expert in this, right? In this friend thing. And it was just, more light bulbs going on and almost saying exactly the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think that we need to have people around us and within us that help us move through these times. It's very important, and I think that's why I've garnered such good friends. And really, Diane, people like you, I haven't seen or heard from you in ages, and it's like it was only yesterday.
we just right. That kind of is exactly like that.
There's always something we can learn, that's for sure. Yeah, that's a given.
Yeah.
When we think we know it all, we're in trouble.
Uh-oh. Yeah, there's them that knows and them that don't know. So sometimes when those experiences that life hands us at times, things that we never expected, is there an unexpected benefit that you've had out of any of your really big experiences in life? that you can think of or care to share with us?
Well, we worked so hard when we were younger, and I think one of the biggest benefits is that I now am able to have a comfortable lifestyle. And I thank Keith for that.
Yeah.
I mean, although we worked through that together, it was he who decided that he wanted to become an electrician. Then it was he who had decided to start a company. And it's almost like he just like drugged me along behind him, eh? But I did my fair share.
Yes, you do.
And I'm very thankful now that I have a lifestyle that I'm comfortable and I don't have to worry about whether I can buy beef or eggs or bread or anything that I can feed myself and house myself. I'm very happy, very content with that. Small things in life.
Yeah, that's it was big before, and now
Yes.
those big things are small now in that next chapter. So
Yeah, you're reaping the benefits of your hard work. I
That-
wouldn't have minded having the person that worked hard with you. You know what I mean?
So is there anything that, thinking back to when you were younger, and you get to decide how much younger for this question, but is there anything that stands out at you that you wish you knew then that you know now with the experienced Lois?
Yeah. Actually, to be truthful, I wish I knew then how intelligent am now, or then either when I was younger. Of course, I come from a large family, 7 sisters, 4 brothers. So education wasn't pushed. My dad was a conductor for the railroad, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. I wished I would have gone on to a profession. Like, I always looked at law as something I would have liked to have done. But I don't regret where I've been and what I've done. I just wished I would have appreciated more of who I was and what I was capable of doing.
Do you think that was because of the times? I think we're similar age. My hair is a lot whiter than yours, but do you think that was because of the times that we grew up in as teenagers? Like, I'm assuming that you and Keith had a long marriage. I'm not sure how many years you were married or how old you were, but do you think it was part of that, the way the times we were raised?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, he died in 2020, and in 2021, it would have been 50 years. When I was 19, we were married in August, and I turned 20 in September.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 years later, our first baby came. And then 6 years later, our second one came, because it was like, all right, I'd been working for an accounting firm, and it was either have another child or go into the CGA program. Guess what? I have another child. Yeah. And, that's just life. You make your choices and then you live with them. You're going to have to edit this part out. I have to wipe my nose.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. I got magic software.
Good. Still get weepy when I talk about Keith.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And that's a good thing. It kind of, in my opinion,
Yeah.
I don't think we should, personally, I don't think we should tamp down those big feelings that are inside.
No. And I don't hold back when I'm with old friends and we get talking. I just say, oh yeah, Keith used to do this and Keith did that. And that's a big part of my life.
Exactly. It is a big part of your life, and
Yeah.
it's something to be celebrated or, learned from those negative things.
Yeah, both, I think. I think we have to celebrate and learn from a relationship that lasts that long. I mean, we were young, naive kids when we got married.
What did we know?
Yeah. I mean, I shouldn't say naive. I come from a family the size of mine. You weren't naive. You learned lots of things, right? And you had to help your mom and your brothers and your sisters. And yeah, no, I don't think but I was naive about the world. I wasn't worldly at all.
And didn't have I guess you say you weren't worldly, but you also didn't strive for that worldliness, I think is also part of it.
No. I mean, the thought of leaving home to go out and venture out never ever crossed my mind. I mean, I got a job with the railroad, just like my dad. I was a car clerk, and yeah, no, that was the beginning of working, and that's what I did is I worked. Yeah.
And you did good work.
Thank you.
Before we wrap up, Lois, I just wanted to give you a chance to share some final thoughts, basically some of your musings. If you could go back in time and talk to your younger self again, what would you tell that younger Lois?
Oh, that's pretty easy. I would tell that younger Lois, do not get married.
I didn't expect that one.
No.
Okay.
You know what? And
I'm
I
sorry.
always said that. It was really funny. I always said that as a teenager. I'm never getting married. I'm never getting married. No man's going to tell me what to do. And then I get married at 19. But yeah, that's what I was always thinking. But I never thought beyond that. Like, okay, so you're not going to get married. Well, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
what would you tell
I'm
that
going to get married.
what would you tell that younger Lois? Don't get married, but what? But
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't know what to tell her except don't get married. And you know what? And then I think back on that and I think you had to get married or you wouldn't have these two beautiful children and these three beautiful grandsons. So life works out the way it should, I think. I think we can choose certain paths, but for the most part, our paths are already chosen for us. And we just have to make the best of where we're going, I guess. I don't know.
back in one of my psychology classes, I can't even remember which one, the guru at the front of the room put us through this exercise where we each had, he placed in our minds, okay, you're 6 years old. Somebody asks you what you want to be when you grow up. Then he asked, what are you today? And without a doubt, 100% of the response from the students in the room were some version of what that was. For example, if you said fireman, well, then you're a helper and you go to danger and you know, there's all those things about being a fireman. So you might not be a fireman, but you might be something close to that. With 100% of people, it was very interesting. You are what you are by the time you're 6. And then you spend the rest of your life making it so. So we've talked about, you know, the chapters 1 through 25 of the Lois memoirs, the book, Lois.
Yes.
So let's talk about the newest chapter, not necessarily next chapter, but the newest chapter of Lois's life. So what's life like for you today? You kind of alluded to that at the beginning of our conversation.
Yeah,
right?
it's pretty darn good. I don't have any reason to truly be unhappy. I have a new partner. He's got the patience of Job, and that's a good because I'm the opposite. I have no patience. I think I'm supposed to learn patience in this time around. Haven't succeeded yet. He likes to travel, and we have a nice RV, and we spent some winters, 2 winters down south, and we went to Mexico last year. We've been on an Alaskan cruise, and now we're going to go across Canada this summer. And that's just right up my alley right now. It's just like, I can't wait to get going on the next trip, do something exciting.
What's exciting about the travel, specifically about the going across Canada? Can you talk about the feelings? Like, what is it that you're interested in that is filling them?
I want to see the old Canada back east. I want to see our beginnings. I want to meet been to Newfoundland and I've met some of the down to earth people that live in this country and that are the salt of this country and have been. It's just a feeling I get of comfort and love. I just want to see it. I want to see it all. I want to enjoy it. I want to be part of it. Yeah. And it's, there's no humdrum there. Not every day, get up, have breakfast, do the laundry, mow the lawns, clean the house. None of that. None of that. Sitting around a campfire. Oh, look, there's new people just pulled in. Let's go have a chat with them. Just, yeah, fun. The fun side of life.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much where I am in my travels as I look forward to my travels.
No, you can't. You just got to find that silver lining every time.
Yeah, let's just go down to the pool. Watch people. Let's get out of this room.
Yes.
Anyway,
That
but
can happen.
we had a grand time with the kids.
But Lois, have you got one thing, if you could encapsulate? Oh no, here we go, big challenge. One piece of encouragement that you'd like to leave with the probably women, mostly women who are listening to this podcast, but one thing that you'd like to leave them with.
If there's really something you want, get out there and find it or do it. Don't wait. Make it happen. Simple as that.
Simple as that.
Might not be for some people, but
well, sometimes you got to be the lead dog.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that partly comes from, well, not only if I'm to assess things, but you said that you came from a big family. So you kind of had to be that way. And then secondly, with, your first husband with Keith there, where, he was one of those lead dogs and you just kind of had to, that I think that's a big part of what you did was made everything good so that he could go do more. And so, you had to be brave in order to, especially with a young family. You got to be brave and look after them too, right?
Yes, you do. Yeah. And more often than not, as women, we put ourselves on the back burner when we have husband and family and jobs, and there's just so much that needs to be done. And I think it's amazing how, well, my daughters, for instance, their husbands are partners, are true partners. They do things, they help out in the home. It's not like we used to, work all day, come home, start dinner, get the kids their homework or get them to their activities, and then you clean up and then you throw in a load of laundry or whatever you need to do, but you're busy until bedtime. It's not so much like that anymore. They're true partners. They share the responsibility and the load that living together and having a life together brings.
What do you think made that change in the around us? It's not our change, but in the way. Do you think that was because of the way you raised the girls, or do you think it was other influences? Like, what do you think brought about that?
Well, I believe that children live what they see. And I think lots of kids in our era of having them saw that their moms worked like dogs, and dad was out golfing or dad was out doing this or dad was out doing that, but mom was at home keeping the fire burning. And they just looked at that. That's not ever going to be me. I know some of them that won't cook. No, I am not going to make 365 meals a day, 3 times a day for anybody. And I think that's how some of them and they have no guilt about it. Yeah, I didn't carry my load today, like, oh, yeah, no, I think that they live what they see, and sometimes they don't like what they see and they think I am not doing that, and they don't.
And you mentioned the examples of the male going golfing and going here and going there, but it also is when you're in business for yourself, that's a pretty easy place for the dad to go, because you have to keep that business rolling or heck is going to break loose. But that isn't the way the kids see it
No,
necessarily.
yeah. No, they would not necessarily see that, but I think that young boys see the same thing as well, and they see that their dad isn't of much help to their mom. And so when they get a partner, they're going to help. And I don't and I think it's just an excuse if you're running a business to not help, because that business doesn't go 24/7.
Well, Lois, it has been uplifting
Oh,
reconnecting with you again
thank you.
after, these years, and looking forward to today, where, it is kind of a structured conversation, but, it's the kind of conversation that I get to have now with people and pull those things from them. And
Yes.
sometimes, well, we already have said, I'm the biggest learner that
Yep.
comes to the party. But I just want to thank you for being so giving of your time and your stories and your emotion. It's okay to wear that on your sleeve.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. It's it's been a new experience for me. Like, I have to tell you, I paced the floor thinking, "Oh, I should just phone Diane and tell her I'm not going to do this. This is just so out of my comfort zone. It just I will never be able to do this." But thank you. You made it doable. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I guess that's, if there's a positive there, get you out of your comfort zone. It's like me coming off the side of the mountain. You got to push yourself a little bit. All right. Well, listen, thank you so much again for spending your time with me. You've been so giving, and I really appreciate it. And we have to not leave it so long. Maybe not to do another podcast necessarily. We can, but not so long in between visits.
Okay.
Thanks, Lois. Thanks for
Thank,
sharing.
thank you, Diane.
All right. Bye for now. Lois's story is such a powerful reminder that even in the quiet chapters of our lives, there's a place for love and for new beginnings. If something she shared today resonated with you, I hope you'll take a moment to reflect on your own journey and maybe even share this episode with a friend who might be going through their own life changes. And if you're navigating a life transition of your own, don't forget to download the free journal prompts link below. They're here to help you take the next small, brave step, whatever that looks like for you. Until next time, I'm so glad you're here, and take good care.